Good morning, everybody. It's Sandra here at Huron Ridge Greenhouses, coming to you live on a sunny morning. It was hard to pick a spot in the greenhouse that wasn't going to be too bright, so I hope my lighting's okay. We're just going to have to go with it for this morning. When you have a clear roof, there's only so much you can do about sunshine, so it's a good problem to have. Don't get me wrong. We're so glad to see the sunshine, and especially the forecast for warmer temperatures. You'll finally be able to garden outside instead of trying to keep all those little baby plants alive in your house. Definitely keep watching the overnight temperatures. You don't want to have anything tender outside until it's going to be consistently above 6 degrees at least overnight. And definitely keep an eye on any forecasts for cold winds. They can really wreak havoc with your baby plants. But anyways, all that aside, what I wanted to talk to you today, I had a question about dividing plants. I've actually had a few questions about dividing plants. Want to start this off with full disclosure, I am not a horticulturist. I did not go to horticulture school. I grew up in the greenhouse industry. Like I've told you before, my parents started this business before I was even born. So plants have always been part of my life, and most of my knowledge I've been gained either from my dad or from my brother, who both are growers here. Dad's more retired now, and Kevin's taken over, but for years it was always up to between the two of them to help the rest of us learn about plants. So just so you know, that's if I get some terms wrong or something like that, please just recognize that I'm doing my best and giving you the knowledge I've got as well. So, dividing plants. I actually had somebody, this is a big topic, and I'm trying to keep my videos to 10 minutes. So I'm going to give you like the Coles Notes version of dividing things. Perennials to start with. Most perennials can be divided once they're established. Plants that grow and multiply from the root base up is what you're going to be dividing with, say, a shovel or whatever in the early spring. Best to divide things when things are a little bit more dormant. It's a little bit easier. But perennials can be divided at lots of times throughout the year. One that's really common to divide is hostas, irises, a few different things like that. Some of them actually almost have to be divided, or they kind of grow into themselves and start not doing so well. So I talked about that a little while ago. But just to refresh on that, you need to let things get established. So perennials in our zone are usually pretty easy to divide once they've had probably a year or two growing, so that they get bigger and you've got a bigger clump, okay? If you divide something too soon, it's just going to have a hard time recovering. Good morning to everybody that's joining me this morning. So that's perennials. Annuals, in our growing zone, you get one season out of an annual. That's why I call it an annual. But they're never going to get big enough for you to divide, no matter what. Not in the way you're thinking of a dividing, okay? So actually I had somebody ask me, our Vista petunias. So you can see premium state petunias, $8.99. They're not a cheap plant. They're a big plant. They are very robust in their growing. You need way fewer of them. I've talked about them a few times. But if you chop this plant in half to try to get 2 petunias, you will end up with 0 petunias because it cannot be divided. That's not how it works. There's one plant growing out of the middle of here. All of the stems come off of that one plant. If you cut it in half, you're killing your plant. So don't even consider that. There's different kinds of petunias for reasons. They've been propagated by, these ones are made by the Proven Winner Company. If you've watched HGTV or picked up any sort of a gardening or home publication, you have probably seen advertising by Proven Winner. Very well established company, grow great products, spend tons and tons of money in research and development to grow these great products for us. So we actually, when we go to grow Proven Winners, and a lot of different things, believe it or not, flowers are patented. So we have to buy in from growers that have the license to propagate cuttings. We could probably apply for a license and get all that paperwork taken care of and pay royalties to Proven Winner. But quite frankly, it's just easier for us to buy them in from a good source and know that all of that legal ease is taken care of. So we buy our plants as cuttings. So if you wanted to make more of these petunias, in your home, nobody's going to come and check to make sure that you're not propagating a Proven Winner. Here at the greenhouse, of course, when we're selling them, it's where it becomes a concern, right? So what you actually would do is take a cutting of this and root it. I know people that do that. My one aunt in particular has a neat begonia that we don't even sell here. I have no idea. I've never seen it anywhere other than her house, but I did get a couple cuttings this year. Actually, she gave me some started plants. And they're really different foliage, and she keeps them over every year in her house. She's got a grow light, and that's all good. But that's how she essentially divides them, is by propagating new ones from cuttings. in doing that, if that's something you're interested in, it's even just a fun little pet project to see how things root and grow. There's lots of information online on how to take cuttings and how much of the plant you need to cut, because I know you can't just take off the very tip. There's lots of advice on that. Like I said, I'm not a horticulturist, but this is something that is definitely going to help if you're trying to stick cuttings. It's a stem root, and we use it here for all of our cuttings, in a version of this anyways. It's meant to help grow new roots on the bottom of a cutting. So getting back to petunias, I talked to you about the Vista petunias, but we have lots of kinds of petunias. So we've got your standard bedding plant petunia, comes 6 to a pack. They often see them growing in flower beds. I wouldn't recommend this for a container at all. It's just not the right kind of petunia for that. It's more of a bushing kind of petunia, I would say. They get to be, now the backs of your tags have lots of information. Did you know that? So these petunias get to be 7 to 10 inches tall, and 6 to 8 inches apart is how far you're supposed to space them. So that's these petunias. They require deadheading if you want them to keep flowering, and if they get a heavy rain, they kind of look crummy for a little while, so they don't bounce back very good from heavy rain. That's bedding plant petunias. Then we get to our next petunias, which are hybrid petunias. We have them in 4-inch pots, and we basically grow 2 kinds here. One is headliners. I brought this one over because I thought that was kind of a cool one. This one is called Dark Saturn. Pretty cool. And yesterday I showed you Susie Storm. This one is called Burgundy Sky. I kind of like that one too. Okay, these are far more robust than the bedding plant petunias. Well, let's read the back. Let's see what it says. This petunia will grow to be, well, it says to space it 24 inches apart. So that's a lot different than 6 to 8 inches apart. And it will get 10 to 16 inches tall. So it's going to be pretty big as well. So that's this headliner petunia. They're all a little different, so it certainly is good to read the back of the tag, especially when it comes to spacing, so you know how many to buy for a particular area. These don't require deadheading, and they will definitely bounce back much better if they get a heavy rain on them. They'll do just fine. So, and the other one that you'll be familiar with as a hybrid, and this is another brand name that you'll probably recognize, and these are waves. These are easy waves. So when the petunias were first introduced like this, they were called wave petunias. Grow like crazy, and then they've kind of refined the process a bit, and they call them now easy waves. Same idea, really robust petunias, no deadheading required, and you see them a lot, hold on a second, in hanging baskets. So this is our 10-inch petunia hanging basket. Really, really pretty. And again, people have asked me if they can take this basket apart, because there is, I think, 3 plants in there, and the answer is you can't. Once it's been growing together like this, these were planted probably, oh gosh, I don't even know, March maybe? So the root structures are all intertwined, and if you try to take that apart, you're just going to end up with really nothing. They might recover, but you're going to be so far set back. You're much further ahead to buy individual pots. Like I said, some things you just can't divide. It's not as simple as, yeah. It's just not, they're grown together, that's how they need to stay, or you're going to not be very happy with the end result. The other thing I wanted to mention about our super petunias, just so that you know, they do look like this right now on the bench, but we're in the process of giving them a haircut. So if you come in and they look like this, that's because we've given them a trim, partly because they grow in together on the bench, and they could get broken apart when you try to separate them, and also because when we give things a haircut, it stimulates all the new growth from the center. So by trimming this back now, it means you're going to have a lot more growth coming from the center in the coming weeks. So it'll give you a much nicer looking plant. You just got to give it a bit of time. So it's definitely worth it. I know it seems a little bit sad when we get our scissors out. I'm going to show you. I think I've got a pair of clippers in my thing here. But all we really do is we just, yeah. It feels sad because we're taking off all those pretty flowers, but really it's going to make a huge difference in the quality of your plant in the long run. And it seems a little bit aggressive, but we're going to cut all this off, and in a few weeks you're going to be much, much happier with what that plant is going to look like. Like I said, we always try to leave a few buds on so that you can at least see what's coming and know what the true color of the plant is. But yeah, that's not too much to cut off when we're trimming things back. Other than that, I put a call out last night to some of my friends to give me some suggestions for questions for my videos. And boy, did they came through for me. So I've got a long list of things that I'm going to try to cover in the coming days and weeks. And I hope that you'll keep the questions coming. I'd love to have some feedback of things that are helping or things you need to know. And we will look forward to seeing you here at the greenhouse. We are open from 10 till 6 every day. for both in-store shopping and online ordering with curbside pickup. So it's really up to you. Whatever you're most comfortable with doing this year, we will help get you some plants and get you out in the gardens. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone.